Welcome to the 48 Men Podcast. I'm excited that you are joining us today. If this is your first time, welcome. If you are joining for the multiple times, welcome back. I'm a big Survivor fan, so today I'm really excited to have Jonathan Young on the podcast. He was just on season 42 of Survivor. Me, Sadie, and all of our family just finished watching season 42. If you didn't watch it, Jonathan crushed all of his challenges. He lost 20 pounds on the show. He was super dominant, and he won almost all of the immunity challenges, and he really just crushed it. He also has a world record for the most chin-ups in a minute with 100 pounds strapped to his back. And he also swam at the University of Alabama, even though it went to Auburn. That's okay. And probably, I would argue maybe the most dominant physically Survivor player in history. So, Jonathan, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, what an introduction, Christian. I feel honored to be here, bro.
Man, I'm really stoked for our conversation. And like I said, we over here in the Huff Robertson household are huge Survivor fans, and just seeing you, whether it was individual immunity or working for your tribe and your team, I mean, you really accomplished almost everything that you could have done on the game except winning. You know, you came in fourth place, right? You came in fourth.
Fourth place.
You came in fourth. So I mean, you were near the top. If you won that competition at the end, you would have had the opportunity to potentially win. You and Mike made fire, and unfortunately, you lost that battle. But you really got to do everything on the show that you wanted to do.
That's right. You know, next time, if there is a next time, I'm going to be starting fires every day before I get there, bro. Mike doesn't stand a chance.
There you go. Well, it really is not fair because you had to make fire against a firefighter. So the odds of that are pretty comical.
I talked to him about it afterwards. I said, Mike, how did you know that if you threw a handful of wood on the fire that it was going to blow up like that? He's like, well, it's pine. It's a different kind of wood. And it's the coconut husk was different. And Mike, he knew more about the product than I did.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Well, right off the bat, I just want to go ahead and ask you, so what did being on Survivor teach you both physically and spiritually? Because for those of you who don't know, can you kind of explain really what the game of Survivor is and what the show Survivor is? And, you film it in Fiji, so you're in one of the most beautiful places in the world to just, God's creation. So what did being on Survivor and just being out on the island teach you about yourself physically and spiritually?
Yeah, so number one, I've been wanting to get on this since I was younger, since I was like 14 years old. I was on this show called Endurance, which is Survivor for kids, essentially. I got out there, and you never really know what to expect because Survivor is real. Survivor is the real deal. And I got to experience that firsthand. When you're not getting rice, they're not handing you anything behind the scenes. You're legit not eating anything but what you catch or what you gather.
Yeah.
So what I learned from it physically was I now know that if you don't eat, you're not going to be at your peak performance.
Yeah.
But I also learned that mind over matter is a real thing. I figured out that you can push your body further than a lot of people think you can. There's a lot, God made it, I believe. So it's like this. If this is the real world and you have all this noise, God made it so it's like, what's that thing? Frostbite. When frostbite, your arms get off, your legs go off. The last thing standing is the organs. Same thing in your mind. When you're fasting, the most important thing is left. So you got to think about God in the game. I got to feel the presence of God like I've never felt him out there. It was a fast. I think fasting can be underrated. Yeah. It's legit, man. I can say that it's real and it helps. When you fast, you can feel the presence of God more. So that was a big thing for me to be away from the noise.
Yeah.
I didn't have to worry about the things of this life. Jeff told me, Jeff goes, the only thing you have to worry about is you balancing on a beam. That's all you have to worry about. It took away a lot, and it was good. It was a good reset for me. Yeah.
Yeah. What was it like getting to wake up and go to sleep on an island in Fiji like that every day?
Oh, it's a dream come true. At first, it's rough. Laying on the sand or on bamboo, sleeping the first few days was very rough, but you get used to it. I think that it helped me in the long run sleeping on a hard surface, bro.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. I think it helped me. I've thought about going back to the floor, like sleeping on the floor, because there's something about sleeping on a hard surface that it helps your body.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've never known that. Well, this is a hypothetical question, and you might not know, but you might have an idea. Do you think that if you were not fasting every day, and if you had your usual amount of food, do you think that you would have won more challenges than you did?
Oh yes, sir. If I had my 18 eggs and 9 pieces of cheese, I'd be dominating.
You would have been dominant. See, it wouldn't have been a competition at that point. You probably would have gotten voted off a lot sooner than you did if you had your full course meals.
I think so. So. My whole going into it, I wanted to be like a servant leader. I wanted to give food, gather food, help build the shelter. Everything that I did, I wanted it to be hard for my tribe and for everybody else. If I got kicked off of the show, then it would be way harder for everybody else to survive. No fish, nothing. So I used that a lot, and I didn't take more than like a portion, right? So I would get a portion. If I catch 5 fish, I get 1 fish. The other 4 go to my other tribe mates, and it worked for a very long time. And I think that helped me more than almost anything that I did.
Yeah. So you've told me that you lost about 25 pounds on the show. For those who didn't watch the show, what is your typical routine food-wise look like compared to going onto the show and having rice and really nothing to eat? Because you just shared, 18 eggs and 9 pieces of cheese. So how many calories do you typically consume, and then what did you go from doing to not doing on the show?
Yeah, so I tried to hit around 250 grams of protein a day, and I went from eating about 2 meals for each. So if I had breakfast, I'd eat 2 breakfasts. I'd had 2 lunches, because we're there quarantining for 14 days. And so I would try to eat 2 of what other people were eating.
Yeah.
But getting out there, normally they give you rice. Normally that, until these past 2 seasons, they would give you rice. But Jeff, the twist was we're going to bring it back to more of an old school feeling where you're not getting any rice. So that really hit me hard around day 20. I actually passed out around day 20 because I was so dehydrated and depleted with no calories. So yeah, it was man, there were some days we probably had maybe 100, 200 calories just off of sea snails and hermit crabs.
Something that I do that I sometimes struggle with and it messes me up is that I use my phone as an alarm clock. I don't own an alarm clock, so my phone wakes me up in the mornings, which means that it's usually right next to me when I go to sleep. So at nighttime, when I can't go to sleep, what do? I check my phone, I get on Instagram, I check social media. In the mornings, when my alarm clock goes off, what do? I check my phone, I check the news, and I don't like that. And at nighttime, what I've been doing lately has been checking the Abide app. It has meditations, it has worship, it has playlists, and it has all these things that I can check if I'm struggling to go to sleep. Instead of checking the news or social media or all these other things that that can clutter the mind, the Abide app can help bring peace and clarity and help me go to sleep at night when I'm struggling to. Now you can doze off peacefully, listening to God's word, and not be filled with stress and anxiety about the days to come. And Abide is also the #1 Christian meditation app. Their users report less stress, lower levels of anxiety and depression, and also better sleep. For a limited time, our listeners will get 25% off a premium subscription if you visit abide.co/men. So let me tell you a little something about how the Abide app works. Their meditations start at 2 minutes long, and they're easy to fit in your schedule. And if you're anything like me, life is busy, hectic, cluttered, never really anything the same. And with these 2-minute meditations, it fits right into that schedule. And they have many featured topics that hit every categories of life, such as overcoming anxiety, managing stress, addiction and recovery, finding forgiveness, and so much more. And what I love about the Abide app is that it's Christ-centered and everything is based on the Bible. And they also have great stories for adults and children. So get started now with 25% off a premium subscription by downloading the Abide app at abide.co/men. You'll get additional stories and meditations, premium music, soothing sounds, and more. Support this show and get 25% off by going to abide.co/men. That's abide.co/men to download the Abide app and get 25% off your premium subscription. Yeah, because that's something else you don't think about. Not only are you not getting, carbohydrates and proteins, but you're not getting electrolytes and, sodium, potassium, all these other things that you really need to be able to function and compete at these challenges that are super physically demanding on your bodies.
Oh, yeah. Very, very demanding. But hey, let me tell you, it was so worth it. It was the best experience I've ever had in my life and the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Yeah, for sure. So you're also, like I said, you're also a world record holder. So what do you hold a world record for, and where did that desire come to do that? And do you think you'll ever try to break another one or something?
Yeah, I think that I might do it again. The one that I broke was the most pull-ups with the most chin-ups with 100 pounds on my back in a minute. I broke that one, and I've tried a few in the past. I am feeling up to it. I'm feeling up to going for another one.
Yeah.
I don't know which one yet. I'm working on that. I think that if we have gifts that God has given us, then it's on us if we don't use them. So I don't know what that looks like in the future, but I'll be doing something.
Yeah, that's cool. So is it like on the chin-ups, could you get off the bar? Did you have to be consecutively on the bar? Could you break, or how did that work?
You get a break. So I would do about 9 or 10, take a break, get back up there, do a couple more, get back up there, do a couple more. Try to keep the blood flowing in the arms, because if you're up there too long, then the blood will leave. You want to shake them off. Give it a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many did you get?
15.
15. How many could you rep out just in a minute with 100 pounds not on you?
Probably about 50.
About 50?
Yeah,
man, that's
50,
impressive.
50 good ones.
See, I don't know what I could get, but it's not 50. Maybe 25.
Hey, man, I've seen your Instagram. I'm impressed with you, Christian.
Maybe 25. Well, thank you, man. That means a lot coming from you. I'm not 6'4", 250, but I'm a little smaller and a little not as big as you are.
A little bit, not much.
Just a little bit. So, as I said earlier, you have a world record. You've been on Survivor. You swam at Alabama. Did you always grow up into fitness and athletics?
Yeah, so from a very early age, my dad, he would wake my brother and I up, and we would run up the side of a mountain, and I was instilled with discipline. That's one of the things that, from an early age, that he taught me, and he would read me Proverbs in the morning. So it would be workout and Proverbs, and pull-ups came probably when I was 3 or 4 years old. So it stuck with me pretty hard. I don't know, my brother's getting back into it. My older brother's getting back into it. But that's what he wanted to put into us, and it stuck, and I've been working out ever since. So about 25, 26 years. And then after that whole time period, I started getting into weights seriously around 20 years old. I used to do a lot of body weight exercises. And I think that's real good for when you're younger, because if you're younger and you're lifting heavy weights, that can hurt your growth plates. And I think that's a problem we have with a lot of football players when they're lifting heavy weights when they're younger. It hurts them. So I'm not a huge fan of that. But anyways, I'm at my mentor is Lex Luger, who is this big WWE wrestler. And he came down here to my church, and I go, man, I want to be like this guy, because number one, he loves the Lord. Yeah. He's not fake by any means. Yeah. What he preaches, he practices, and I greatly admire this man. So I went up to him and I said, Mr. Lex, I want to do what you did. And he goes, you got the look. And then he brought me up to Atlanta. Uh-huh. So I went up to Atlanta. I started training with him, and he gave me his personal workout program, and I started getting stronger and stronger. And then he sent me down to Orlando to do a WWE tryout.
That's cool.
And I've been there a couple times, and I didn't know about enough about the WWE, so that didn't take.
Yeah, that one didn't work out.
No, didn't work out. Maybe later in life.
Yeah. Well, did you play any other sports? Did you play football? Because, I mean, if you look at you, I feel like you would expect you to play football, but you might not have.
Yeah, I mostly did basketball, tennis, and soccer. I never got big into football. I got into more water sports later in life. I started swimming probably when I was about 14. Mm-hmm. And then I fell in love with the water in my later teen years. So now like spearfishing and surfing are really big for me. I'm a huge water guy now.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, if you're watching on YouTube, Jonathan's hat says Young Strength. So what is, I feel like that's kind of your workout stuff. So what all is Young Strength, and what are you hoping that brings to people?
I've thought about Young Strength for years. I was like, what am I going to do with this? How's it going to help? And yeah, number one, it is fitness, but it's what you do with it. It's more functional fitness, and whatever like God has given you, you pay it forward. So in return, whatever we sell off of Young Strength, we give a piece of the pie to Young Strength missions. And that's something that the people that are on the board and we figure out where the money is needed, and every bit of Young Strength missions money goes to either Costa Rica, to somebody that I've personally met with to see how she uses the money to feed families, or in Bali where there's orphanages that they need help. So we send it out to. I've been to Bali to help out there where I can. So all of it is very. It all goes back to God, regardless of anything that I do. I want it to echo an eternity for the Lord.
So as you've heard me mention before, I just had my powerlifting meet a little while ago, and something that really helped me train for it was taking athletic greens before I went to the gym. I feel like it gave me more energy, it helped my immune system, and it tasted delicious going into it. I had all the nutrients that I needed, and athletic greens really helped me to achieve the goals that I wanted to set for myself. So you've heard me talk about how athletic greens has helped me achieve my goals, and you might be wondering what's actually in it. Well, with one delicious scoop of athletic greens, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help start your day off right. And this special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, aging, and focus. All the things. And if you're like me, we can all agree that sometimes taking pills is a hassle. And for me, even sometimes I choke, which is never fun. But that's why I love taking athletic greens, because it tastes delicious, it goes down easy, it's not bitter, it's not really chalky, it stirs up really well, and it tastes delicious. So we just got back from a little trip with my side of the family, and it was cool seeing my mom and dad bring their athletic greens Java packs on the trip. You've heard me talk about them before. They've kind of gotten hooked with it, and like me, they also brought their travel packs. They fit right in your backpack, in your suitcase, whatever you're traveling with. They're just these little packets, and you can squeeze them anywhere. You mix them right in the water, and that's it. That's all you need. Tons of people take some kind of multivitamin, and it's important to choose one with high-quality ingredients that your body will actually absorb. Well, AG1 is a small micro habit with big benefits. It's one thing you can do every single day to take great care of yourself. Athletic Greens is one thing with the best things, and it's lifestyle friendly. So whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free, it fits in that lifestyle. It contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything, while still tasting good. Supports better sleep quality and recovery. So right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills to look out for your health. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/Huff. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/Huff to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Yeah, for sure. So as you mentioned earlier, you ran up the side of a mountain when you were younger, and your dad would read Proverbs over you. So did you grow up a believer? Have you always been super strong in your faith, or was there a moment in your life where your faith really became your own?
Yep. So for me, my early 20s and late teens, I was having a difficult time, because the thing is, when you said make your faith your own, that's very important. You listen to your family, who my family as believers. You listen to them all these years, but when you come into a relationship with just you and Jesus, it's a whole new thing. So after meeting Mr. Lex and spending time with him, Mr. Lex is now in a wheelchair, right? And he had a body that was 2 or 3 times better than mine. If you ever look him up, he's the man. And so anyways, he's in a wheelchair, and I saw how his faith was unshaken. And I wanted to be like Mr. Lex because I saw how real he was. And that helped me a lot because I met him when I was 22.
Yeah. And
I still to this day, I watch him. And he helped me in my faith because I see the clarity of, I see Jesus in Mr. Lex. So, yeah, when I met Mr. Lex, it helped me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. How do you try to spiritually discipline yourself? I mean, if you look at you, obviously you're super disciplined on your nutrition. I saw you post a workout video this morning. So for you, is it prayer? Is it worship? Is it reading? How do you try to cultivate that relationship for you?
So I listen to sermons. That's one thing that helps me, is like theology. I like to dig deep, but I like to read my Bible in the mornings. That's something that helps me. I want to start the day off right. Yeah. Is I want to get right with God, and then that'll help you live the rest of the day a little better. If you start off good, you can end good. Yeah, for sure. So starting off good is I think a big deal to the Lord. So
yeah. Did you have any difficulties on the show? Because a lot of the show is built on trust in a sense, but you also have to you have to a lot of people's faces. So was that difficult for you? How did you navigate your faith, but also playing to win $1 million?
It was something that I thought about before going out there. I go, well, is this a game or is this real life? And I know a lot of people will take things very personally, even the viewers. Mm-hmm. They so I thought about it, and I go, and I even talked to Mr. Lex. I go, is this lying? And he would think about it with me, and he said, no, this is a game. So in poker, or there's this game called Bull. It's a card game. Yeah. And you're allowed, the rules are, the rules are you're allowed to lie. And it's not actually lying, it's part of the game. Same with Survivor. I don't equate the game of Survivor as to real life. I truly believe it's the best game like ever played. Survivor is amazing, but it's still a game. It's not real life.
Yeah. And how have those friendships, because I feel like I don't really feel like I'm a sensitive person, but I feel like watching back on TV, and I know that they probably cut things to make things look a certain way, but you see people say things and you're like, man, well if I would have known they thought that about me the whole time, then I would have maybe tried to work with so and so if they thought that about me. So how did you ever struggle going back and like watching the episodes and seeing what people said, or is that the idea of it's just part of the game? I can't take it personal. I need to be thick-skinned and not let that get to me.
No, that's part of the game. Is what happens as real life and Survivor collide for a lot of people, and once real life things like, for example, it's always going to happen. It happened with me. Like I truly felt the connection with the Lord, right? Out there on Survivor, real things happen, but for me, I couldn't let things like Jonathan won't align with me. I can't feel any sort of way about that because I had to stick to a game that would get me the furthest. It's nothing personal. Nothing is personal. It's what's going to take me furthest in this game. And once the game is over, everybody's going to know that I love them, and I'll tell them I love them. But I have to play this game.
Yeah. What was your biggest? Because I think it was more so beginning of the show. I think it was the day that the waters were super rough, and you basically hauled your whole team to the beach. Was that your biggest physical feat on the show? Would you say? Because I think that was the episode where they had to call they had to stop the challenge because it was too difficult. Wasn't that was that the challenge? But then you were the only one that made it out of the water, and you hauled everybody else out, and we were like, that is crazy.
Yeah, dude, I'd been waiting for 14 years for that moment because I always wanted to see what I could do when you're actually surviving.
Yeah.
I've been wanting because I've been training for it like my whole life,
Yeah.
and I got to see what I could do when it was crunch time, when the waves were big, and Mr. Jeff, he goes, "Well, Jonathan, this is something that I've never really witnessed before." And I told Mr. Jeff that. I said, "I've been waiting, Mr. Jeff, for this moment to see what I can do." So yeah, that was a big moment for me. I felt pretty good.
Yeah. Were you ever off to the side doing like push-ups and pull-ups on trees and stuff, or were you
saving energy?
You were saving all your energy?
Strictly saving energy. I didn't want to. I would do certain things for my tribe mates, and I wanted them to see it. That was something that was part of my tactic. I would give Omer a coconut and say, "Here, you want to try?" And I'd let him try to open the coconut, and it'd be real hard. And then I would come in there with my machete, cling, go, "Here you go." And then he would be like, "Wow, we need Jonathan around here. We can't kick him off now. We're not gonna have any coconuts."
That's so true.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was like halfway through the season, and I think you were up on the thing. Then Jeff looked at you and said, "Jonathan, you're starting to look more human." And we were watching with our whole family. We were like, no, he's still, he's still not there yet. He has some more weight to lose before he does that. But it was a really special season, man. Getting to watch all the, I don't know, it was just a special season. A lot of different ethnicities, a lot of different backgrounds, a lot of different people with different stories. And when you put them on an island and you give them no food, you give them no shelter, it's really cool to see what humans do with that. We were created for relationships. We were created to be in community with one another. And when you get to physically immerse yourself with people like that, stranded, you really see just the beauty of of diversity, of cultures, of just different backgrounds. People with different upbringings and all those different things. It was a really special season to get to watch. And seeing you just physically dominate everything was just really. We had never seen anything like it. And it was halfway through the season, and I think Sadie's mom was like, "You need to get Jonathan on the podcast." I was like, "I'm definitely going to get Jonathan on the podcast because he is absolutely crushing it."
Thank you, brother. And that's something that Survivor does very well. Is they get all these different types of people and they strip them of everything, and they go, "Here are these humans that are completely stripped of what they had in their life, and we're going to put them on this island, and they're all going to either get along or tear each other apart." And it brings people together. It brings people, in my case, it would bring everybody together, and we got to see, like you said, different lifestyles, different kinds of people. I got to have a bromance with Homer. Yeah. So it's something that they do great, and it was such an honor and a privilege that they picked me because you can't do that without them picking. You can't just go survive. Yeah, man. Well, it was special. Well, something that we do on the podcast at the very end is we ask the guests to give a physical and a spiritual challenge, and you are, it seems like you are always picking out your own challenges for yourself to do. So, what physical and spiritual challenge do you give? Yeah, number one is to wake up and connect with the Lord. Read the Bible, listen to some songs, get connected with the Lord every day, every morning. Start it off like that. Start good. Yeah. Number two, I would do the physical challenge would also be at least 5 days a week. Get some activity, move around, make it count. Yeah. Makes you feel, once you work out 5-6 days a week, it gives you a enlightening feeling of clarity. I can think clear after a workout. Depression goes down. So that would be my challenges. Well, there you go. I'm gonna get after him this week. That's right. Jonathan, man, thanks so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And if you did not watch season 42 Survivor, go buy it on Amazon and watch Jonathan crush it on all of his physical challenges on this past season of Survivor. Thank you, brother. I hope that you really enjoyed today's episode with Jonathan from season 42 of Survivor. So it's crazy to think that we've been doing this podcast for over 6 months now, which is wild, but something that's really important to us is your feedback. What do you like? What do you don't like? What can we do better at? Leave a rating on the show, subscribe to our YouTube, comment on social media, give us a follow.
but we just really want to know what we can be doing better and what we are doing good at. And if you could just leave us a rating and give us any feedback, that would be great. So this past weekend, I competed in my first powerlifting, weightlifting competition, whatever you want to call it. And I was really happy. I've been training for it for about 8 to 10 weeks now, and I finally hit 500 on back squat. I hit 300 on bench, which I was happy with, and then I did 515 on deadlift, which was cool to get to do that. And I think I honestly could have done more, but I did not want to hurt myself. So now I'm going to take a little bit of time off, and I'm going to kind of transition my training into more endurance, but also still with some heavy powerlifting stuff. So excited to kind of tease that a little bit, but also keep y'all in the loop of what I'm going to start training for here in the future. So obviously to put up those numbers, I had to be somewhat disciplined with my nutrition. I'm not very over strict with it. Nutrition is definitely important, but for me, there's been times in my life where it's been unhealthy. So for me, the mindset I like to try to think of is I'm going to be healthy throughout the day, and then at nighttime, I'm not going to try to think about what I eat. So I typically try to eat around, 3,000 to 5,000 calories a day. I really don't track it, but if I had a ballpark, that's what I would guess it is. And I get enough protein in, I get enough carbs in. I don't track my macros, but I'm conscious of what I'm doing. If I train that day, obviously I'll eat more and I'll eat a little looser than if I don't train that day. I'll be a little bit more strict with what I'm eating. But I typically try to maybe do 70-30, 60-40 health to maybe foods that aren't super healthy. So that's typically what I try to do if I'm training for something. So obviously, I don't know everything about nutrition. I'm always still learning. And if you are listening to this or watching this and you know a lot about nutrition and that's your thing and health, leave a comment, leave a helpful hint, and help me with the things that I'm training for. Help those listening and those watching with what they can be doing because a lot of us don't know that much about nutrition, and I don't either. I'm always learning, and I would love any advice that I can get from y'all. And to end today's episode, I want to kind of just remind y'all of what the 4-8 Men mission is and what the vision is for what I hope this brings to people. So the 4-8 Men comes from where Paul tells Timothy in 1 Timothy 4:8 that physical training is of some value, but godliness has value for all things, holding present for this life and the life to come. So what the mission is that it encourages people to train their bodies physically, but that it challenges you to train yourself spiritually. And we never want to put more emphasis on how we train ourselves physically than how we train ourselves spiritually. So whether we're reading, we're praying, we're worshiping, all those things that we're training for godliness, we're training to be more like Jesus. That's more important than how we go to the gym or how we eat nutrition. It's more important than those physical things in our life. So the goal that I'm trying to do is just encourage people to go train physically, go work out, go be healthy, but that at the same time it challenges you to look at your spirit, to look at your soul, to look at your relationship with God and say, how can I cultivate this? How can I get this relationship with the one who created me? Because that is going to hold present for this life and the life to come. Our physical bodies are going to die off, but our spirit and our soul, that's going to continue for the life to come. And that's super important that we work on that now while we're still on this earth. So as always, and once again, thanks so much for listening today to the 4-8 Men podcast. I hope that you feel encouraged, loved, challenged, and also just inspired to go out and train your body physically and also train it spiritually and encourage people in their walk of faith with where they're at and call them to a higher life.